have improved. So you do have the capacity to do it, but you're not doing it. So why aren't you doing it? Do you not want to do it? Are you still hurt from a few seasons? Are you too focused on micromanaging the other team and overthinking about them, which isn't a bad thing, but it comes at a cost, because no matter how much we want to predict what an opponent does and we want to control games, we still need to put the ball in the back of the net. And I genuinely feel where you look at our attackers, Dan, they're not bad. Do I think Martinelli's falling off a cliff? 1,000,000%. Trossard's probably going to go, but nobody's convinced with either one on the left-hand side, to the point where a lot of us have concerns about Madueke, Dan, myself included, or his signing, but we're going to give him a chance. We just want to see him play because it is something different. I don't feel them three are bad players. I don't know how we got to this point of Merino and Kai Havertz up front, but here we are. They can kind of chip in. And we know how great Gyökeres is, and we know how great Saka is, isn't it? All of them are not bad players. But are we getting the best out of the players initially? Like, yeah, on one hand, Martinelli needs to fix up, but are we setting conditions for them? Are we thriving? Can we look at the attacking half of our team, or how we're playing, and saying it's as white and black as you bring in X, Y, Z player and we're now amazing? Clearly, Gyökeres has some teething issues. He's going to have to adapt. He's clearly not fully fit. But I think you'd be very naive if you think we just put Gyökeres up front, who is a killer, and all the issues are there. Like, he only had 14 touches. Granted, Villarreal, are going to defend well, and they went into a low block. But people say preseason is a chance to try things, right, and do different things. He had 14 touches, 6 in the box. So for argument's sake, could it have been worth going off script and maybe trying to be a bit more direct, which we kind of were, be a bit more direct, try to feed him a bit more, try to get a temperature on what's that about? I don't know, damn, man, but I'm not necessarily convinced with us in the final third. I think we look a bit shaky defensively. As you know yourself, that's what decides football games. And then a lot of people have questions about the midfield. So it's on brand with what our preseason's been done, which has been a mixed bag, like a mixed bag. We just have to hope Bilbao is quality. And the week out, next week, boy, you know what time it is against Man United, man. I'm sure your phone's probably popping off with all the Man United fans doing what they're doing. So it's showtime.
Of course, bro. Look, everyone's looking forward to the season starting. Everyone's looking forward to the games kicking off. My question mark is, are we ready? And I will know if we're ready when I see our players on the weekend. And if we are playing a team that I expect to start against Man United Old Trafford, I will say fair play. But if I'm seeing Norgard playing in midfield still, and I'm seeing Zinchenko getting minutes, and I'm seeing, the likes of, Havertz playing up top, or Merino up top, I'm going to start questioning what we're doing. I want to see the team start against the one. And it doesn't matter. They don't have to play 90 minutes, by the way. But I want to see us start with the team that's going to play against Manchester United at Old Trafford. And I think that team, Raya, I want to see Timber start. I want to see Gabriel start. I want to see Saliba alongside him, Lewis Skelly. I want to see Zubamendi, Rice, and Ødegaard, which I'll come back to in a minute. I want to see Saka, Martinelli, and Gyökeres. That's the one I want to see. Or if it's Madueke, play Madueke on the left. If you want to start him, that's cool. People say to me, Madueke, play him. See what he's like. Martinelli ain't putting up trees at the moment. So play Madueke if you want. If Gabriel's not 100% fit to start, then you start Kivior, cool. But for me, I want to see the team that he believes is ready to play against Man United at Old Trafford. And if I don't see that, I'm going to question what we're actually doing here, because we're going to be going into the team that we believe is good enough against Manchester United, where we haven't played Zubamendi, Rice, or Ødegaard once together, really, other than a handful of minutes. Gyökeres has got a handful of minutes. Merino and Norgard have had more time in midfield than the midfield we want to go with. At the back, Kivior's played a lot more than Gabriel's played. Ben White's played more than what Tim has played. I need to see them get minutes now, DG. This is my problem I've got. So I want to get ready. But I wanted to concentrate on our midfield for a second, right? Because look, Norgard and Merino, I'll get your thoughts on them in pre-season quickly. But the trio in midfield that we want to be seeing is Zubamendi, Rice, and Ødegaard. Now, I've put together a little bit of a tactics thing, and it's a little bit budget, by the way, so forgive me. But
it doesn't matter, man.
I wanted to give a bit of an understanding of what I'm trying to get across here, okay? At the moment, we expect, when everyone's fit, this to be the trio. Now, I haven't put anybody else in their positions because I just want to do some work on the tactics board with these three. So Zubamendi, we know, is a 6. Rice, we know, is going to be the starter that he sees in the 8 or attacking advanced 8 role. And Ødegaard is going to be our 10/attacking wide right player, okay? Now, Eze, forget Eze, he's not here yet. Madueke, Saka, they're going to be wingers. We've got Ethan and Max we can talk about as squad players, but none of them are really going to be playing ahead of Martin Ødegaard at this moment in time. If Eze comes in and people think he should start, let's have that debate when we actually do sign him, because at the moment he's not an Arsenal player, right? So when I look at it, I do feel like this is the trio that's going to happen. Now, I have got no problem with individually any one of these players, but I don't think this balance works. And I'll tell you why. Okay. Now, Zubamendi is clearly a 6. There's no denying that. I'm not going to put him anywhere higher up the pitch. But what I'm going to do is try and ask your thoughts on what we do in midfield like this. So, for example, Zubamendi, we all know is going to be the 6. And I don't want him up here, or I don't want him on the right, and I don't want him on the left. So he's going to stay in and around this area, right? That's fine. No problem with that. My issue is this guy here. I absolutely love Declan Rice. And I love everything that he's got about it in terms of his mentality and his technical ability, his work rate, his engine, everything that off the ball is superb. I don't really like Rice up here. I've got no problem with Rice here. Exactly. I've got no problem with Rice here. I've got no problem with Rice here until I get to about here. And I go, oh, no, stop. I don't want you here. And this is my problem. Now, we'll come to Ødegaard in a minute. But what I would love to see from Arsenal is this. 4-2-3-1. Now, we'll come to him in a minute, right? Because I've still got question marks over this even. However, for these two, Zubamendi and Rice, to work, I want to be seeing Rice as a box-to-box engine like this, like a Patrick Vieira, yeah, role. He's not going to be as good as Patrick Vieira, but that's what I'm seeing. And Zubamendi doing the kind of dirty way. Now, he can go forward. We've seen it against Villarreal and other teams, but I'd rather him be kind of like this, yeah? And Rice being that box-to-box engine, using every blade of grass, being that guy we absolutely love. Then you've got Ødegaard, which is more in a natural 10. Now, some people don't see him as a 10, and I've got to be honest with you. I see him as more as an advanced 8, if I'm honest with you. However, if you're going to play him in the 10, the one good thing about it is he doesn't stay here. Ødegaard at the moment just does this. Oh, allergic to go over here. I better come back here. Oh, no, I want to go over there, but really I should be over here. Ødegaard can do more of this. So what we're seeing is Ødegaard allowing Martinelli over here, playing into play with Lewis Skelly, overlapping with him when he inverts in midfield.
Like we saw in 2022-23 on the transition as well.
Exactly, bro. So this is where I'm at. I want to be seeing that more 4-2-3-1. Now, I'm not saying Mikel Arteta won't do that, but I thought by now we would have actually tried it. I thought by now we would have actually tried a double pivot of Zubamendi and Rice and just see what Ødegaard can do floating around in that 10. What's your thoughts on that, bro?
I mean, bring it up again.
Let me bring it up.
Because you know me, I like the tactics thing. I like it.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously, you see where you had Rice, like with the Villarreal example.
Yeah.
Like when he was basically on the edge. I don't want Rice, like there. I don't want Rice to consistently have to receive the ball in between the lines. Rice is not a man that look over the shoulder. Oh, he's on me. Let me go back. There's going to be elements of that. I think another reason as to why Mikel Arteta likes Rice so high up the field is because the minute we lose the ball, we want to win it as quickly and as high up the field when the team's disjointed. That's why I think generally Rice wants to be where he wants Rice there. And I agree with you, man, because I think Zubamendi, I mean this in a good way. It's a weird one in that he's comfortable on the right-hand side. He likes to go over to the left. Obviously, Rice is a natural right-footed player, but we've got him on the left, which adds to that kind of conundrum. I think we need to copy PSG. Now, granted, we don't have the midfield that they have. We don't have the coach that they have, with the greatest of respect. But I do think players need to move. I think we need to, as much as I think it's got us to this point in a positive way, that we're very structured, that every player's got a complicated individual job and they know how it ties into their teammates either side of them or all over the squad. We need a bit of healthy randomness. Where you look at PSG and Luis Enrique, obviously Luis Enrique is a quality manager. He's an overthinker. He's a madman. Obviously, he's many levels above Mikel Arteta, but there's a lot of similarities. The difference with him is he will do all this stuff you see with Mikel Arteta that Arteta's doing, but he realizes that these players also have individual qualities and I have to let the players play, which is why they're promoted to, you know, be a bit street smart. You got to bust your ass and defend, as you see with their attackers and their midfielders, but they got to be competent. There could be times where, you know, Rice would be the 6, as you said, you'd prefer him there, which I don't think Arteta would, because Zubamendi helps with build-up play. But naturally, Zubamendi could venture further forward. All Rice needs to do is, oh, my teammate has gone further forward. Let me go into the 6. Ødegaard might think, okay, the manager's told me to be on the right. Let me go to the left. And you see how you start to see how it pans in. I want that interchanging movement. Carrying up the example with PSG. On paper, you'd imagine Zubamendi is the deepest, right? And you see that with PSG. But how many times have you seen João Neves in the 10 role? Or actually when Hakimi's, let's just assume like his timber, Hakimi's bombing forward. Vertaya, who also has been galloping further forward, has the common sense to realize, let me just occupy this right back position for a sec. As much as I like the fact that we're overthinkers and we've got to this point, we've gone a bit stale and unpredictable. And, you know, our players have been in this system for a while. They are relatively street smart. They probably have the competence to do exactly what you're saying there and what I've said. So I just want a bit more movement, man. They've all got qualities where they can mix and blend. I don't really like Rice in the pockets. I want, as you said, you want him driving forward with the ball. You want him even running in behind and scoring. Was it against Newcastle towards the end of the season? Yeah, scoring them kind of finishes. You don't really want Rice in the pockets. That's where you want Odegaard. Of the three, Zubimendi's the all-rounder in that he might not have the glee on the ball as an Odegaard, even though I think it's very close. He can do a bit of that. He's not going to be known as a physical kind of man that you have Rice on paper, but when you look at him, he can do that. Arteta's got the tools, bro. You have to use them. I think Arteta has to, as much as he's battling himself and battling the fact of winning the Premier League, you've got to fight against your own philosophy. Now, in life, yeah, if you want to get to a new level, whether that's in your personal, professional life, you have to become a new version of yourself, in which the gaffer has shown in the, in the period till he's been here. But now to get over the line, I think he needs to find that balance of being systemic, being overcomplicated, but utilizing these players, man, because these are not bad players. Even going back, I know we're focusing on midfield, but going to the attack, some of those players, whether you rate Martinelli, all of these guys, they will go to other teams and they might not win or be held in high regards, but they probably look a lot better. And a chef can only complain about his ingredients for so long. So this is where I need the gaffer to do stuff now, man. I think you're bang on, man, but that's just what I wanted to see, man. I needed to visualize it as I was speaking, my boy.
Of course, man. And look, I'm with you. I like to visualize it sometimes and go through it. But in this 4-3-3 or 4-1-4-1, if you want to call it, the only player I'm happy about is this guy. He's the only one I look at and go, yeah, I get it. He's definitely the 6. I don't like him here. And if I'm brutally honest, I don't like him here. The only thing that I could see would work would be this. And you might even put Rice over this side on his favoured right foot and put Zubimendi here and then Odegaard here. Whatever you want to do. But change it a bit, man, because I need to see more of it. It's frustrating me seeing Rice up this way, Odegaard up this way. Rice is allergic to coming over here. Odegaard's allergic to going over there. It's like, hang on a minute. Like, there's a chance for you to actually really change this. And it's so simple.
And then you've got a low block as well, which obviously you can't see it on screen, but you've got the rivals doing the low block and it's
100%
playing into the hands.
100%, bro. 100%. And Zubimendi, I've got no problem. All you need to do is, hang on a minute. All you need to do is drop Rice and then put Odegaard there. It's not like we're asking, everyone to come in this way and be like compact and all that. I'll be thinking, what are you doing? Like, it's simple. It's so simple. Try it. And I'm surprised he hasn't done that in pre-season yet. He's been more interested in trying to integrate Marino and Norgard together. I'm just like, what are we doing here? Like, no problem with them playing, but don't play Norgard and Marino more than Zubimendi, Rice and Odegaard. And that's what he's done. I don't get it. Unless neither of them are fit, all three of them aren't fit. I find it bizarre for me. So, look, that's what I wanted to start with, was the midfield. I think the midfield balance is the biggest issue at the club right now. I understand the creativity, understand the attack, understand the striker. All of those things get cleared up once you get your balance of your midfield right, which is why the department of football that's the most important in the game is the midfield. You need a quality striker and a quality goalkeeper. You need a solid defence. Don't get me wrong, but none of that matters, as we've seen with Manchester City. Once you take your midfield and split it apart, it gets absolutely waltzed through, which is why they've had to go and get Rodri back, bring in Reinders, bring in Cherky, hope that Foden does more. Liverpool have done the same over the years when their midfield weren't good enough. Arsenal, we didn't have a DM for how long? Thomas Partey walked into the club. We had Alex Song and Coquelin before that. Granit Xhaka. It was never balanced. And I'm still looking at us to get balanced in midfield, man. So I've got to be honest with that one. Listen, people.
And that's before we even mentioned Lewis Kelly and that.
Well, we'll definitely come to that as well because I want to get your thoughts on him. There's nearly 900 in here, people. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit subscribe. We are now under 300 away from the big 50. So let's make sure we hit subscribe if you haven't done so already. It's free. Make sure you do the same for Deluded. His link is in the title of this video. So make sure you go show him some love as well. And Match Bingo, QR codes in the corner. Listen, let's talk about Victor Gyökeres very quickly because I feel like everyone's lost their minds about this a little bit. I can't be honest with you, bro. Look, 15 minutes against Tottenham. I think it was about 17 to be exact. And just below 50, I think, against Villarreal. And I've got rival fans asking me why we haven't done the celebration yet. Why has he not got hat-tricks? Why does he look worse than Havertz? What's happening?
Nasty agendas.
Hang on a minute. Let's just calm down one sec. The guy hasn't played football for ages. I do think he should have played more minutes. Don't get me wrong at the moment. However, I don't know his fitness record. I don't know that more than the fitness coaches. But the rival fans need to just hold fire a little bit. Like, I did not expect in 60, 70 minutes of football Victor Gyökeres to have put 3 in by now, right? So The issue I've got is not, wow, Victor Gyökeres don't look great. My issue is more the other way. Nobody realizes we've got a central focal point at the moment because we didn't play any differently with him than we did Kai Havertz. And this is my big problem when it comes back to Mikel Arteta and his style. I remember back when we went for a title race and we were 8 points clear in 22-23, and I thought, wow, we look quick. We look great on the counter. We look physically ready. We look sharp. We look hungry. We look like we have passion and desire. Now it's very rigid. It's not fluid. We're not really allowed to express ourselves unless you're a 15-year-old. We're not really got any kind of micromanagement. Is way over the top. I think it's fling balls into boxes and hope someone can get the end of it. And again, against Villarreal, we scored a penalty in from a corner. So I think that is my biggest worry when it comes to Victor Gyökeres. Yeah. Are we going to be able to create something? Are we going to be able to change the style to fit him? What's your thoughts on it, bro?
I mean, it's a double-edged sword in that the players have got to do it, but then it's like we give or take. I know I was quite critical of what we and you've just spoken about our midfield. We've just spoken about defense, or I touched on defense. I think we're spot on, quote unquote, with what we want to do in the defensive third. Middle third, okay, we can criticize it, but there's fairly some competence there. Once we get into the final third, we've got this double-edged sword of we just stick to the script, front ways, back ways, keeping possession, which in isolation, I don't have an issue. We can't just go gun-ho, just shooting from anywhere, but we don't have the element of going against the script. And we do look like we don't have answers. And when it works, but then it doesn't matter whether we're winning, losing, or drawing, as we saw last season. We're just going to keep the same thing. We don't have the ability to, quote unquote, throw the kitchen sink. And maybe that's for Mikel Arteta to, as much as he likes to micromanage, to hang back a bit and say, do you know what? To a degree, I'm just going to let my players do what they can do. I'm going to let them have that sixth sense, because I do believe that. I think good players are always good with good players, right? And the vast majority of these players have played together for a while. So I might pop a ball around the corner. Or Martinelli's definitely going to be there. I might, keep the ball for 2 seconds because I know Saka is going to want it to feet. We need a bit of that. Either Arteta's got to promote different 2v1, 1v1 situations, or he's got to let the players do their thing, because as I said at the beginning, you're very naive if you thought we were just going to sign Gyökeres, he slapped on and he's going to be great. Now, you touched on rivals. The game's the game. They're going to do what they're going to do in it. The same way we're going to be out there for Liam Delap, Sesko, not that he'll fail, but Isaac, all of these guys. The game's the game. Reality is with Gyökeres, I think, was it yesterday or the day before, Arteta had a press conference and he said he's had 5 or 6 training sessions. We know he's played 17 minutes, I think he said, against Spurs, and let's just call it an hour against Villarreal. He's not going to be fit and firing. What I did like about him is he did occupy the centre halves and stand next to the centre halves a bit more than they would if you had your Havertz or everybody else that we saw there. I don't know if Arteta has told him to do that. I don't know if that's Gyökeres doing that. I don't know if that's something we tried. And I do think he was isolated in that regards. What I did like for him, but didn't like collectively, is naturally, if you're a further forward player and you're not getting the ball, what are you going to do if you're not a coward, which Gyökeres isn't? You're going to drop deep, right? So he's now dropping deep, going searching for the ball, which I like that for Gyökeres, because you're not hiding and you're not feeling sorry for yourself. You're trying to go about yourself, and he won a couple of fouls. What I don't like is that's exactly what's going to happen, because that goes back to what you said about midfield and maybe creating 2v1s, maybe being a bit more, playing that difficult pass a bit more. I think Ben White popped one over the top for Martinelli. It came to nothing. I understand Mikel Arteta doesn't necessarily like those things. I don't necessarily like them. Like, if I'm a manager, I prefer it short 9 times out of 10. But we need to have different ways of playing. It's like, rather than these things become like ingredients or other ways we can play, it just it kind of comes like we're relying on that. Like, you look at the PSG game, really, when Partey's doing long throws, we don't look like we're going to do anything. Couple of times pre-season we've gone long. These just need to be added aspects, man. So this is what it comes down to. The hardest thing is to score goals. And respectfully, Arteta, like, you have come through La Masia, you've been at PSG, you've learned from Pep, you've played under Wenger. Like, I know you know about attacking football, and also you showed it to me. So why I can't see it, I don't know. Are you choosing not to do it? And if you're choosing not to do it, why are you doing that? I understand people saying Mikel Arteta doesn't want to show his hand in pre-season. Everybody's watching. I think that's very naive. But these are things that were crippling us last season and the season before that. And again, for me, especially around movement and rotation in positions, especially around the midfield, that is how you disrupt low blocks. We all know 9 times out of 10, we're going to be playing low blocks for the 38 games. Granted, not every game. When we play Liverpool, when we played this, when we played that, it's not necessarily going to be that. But even that, Liverpool might not necessarily play a low block. City the same, maybe even Man United, which again, the game last season at Old Trafford gives food for thought. But if they're not going to be a low block or be defensive, they're going to be a bit more defensively minded than they would against other opponents. So this is what we need. We either need more rotations. We either need to be a bit more cute and clever in the pockets. We need to play a bit quicker. We might need to stretch the width. Also, I'm of the belief where, you know what, Arteta, life's about balance. If you want to do this inverted fullback thing and all the things that me and you are moaning about, great. When it works, fantastic. But when it doesn't work, can we quickly go back to a traditional fullback and do all the other things we're asking for? Like, I'm no expert. You're the UEFA B manager, but we all watch Arsenal and we know our issues to the point, Dan, where I said this to you before last season. Whenever we played low blocks, I wanted us to score within the first 5 minutes because that would make me a bit more happier. Because if anything, their game plan's gone out the window. If they're in a low block and we've scored, to some degree, what's happening? To some degree, they're gonna have to get at us, Dan. So I don't know what to tell you, Dan, but he's gonna have to find a way about it, man. He's gonna have to. He's gonna have
Facts, bro. Facts, bro. And it's about finding a way to utilize what everyone's been saying we're crying out for. Because there's no way that you can tell me that we can keep playing the way we're playing and Gyökeres will just score goals. He will score goals, but he's not going to fire us to the top. We've got to now find the best way to do that, man. And look, let me bring the tactics board up again because like me and you are visual. Let me explain what I mean, right? At the moment, this is what we think everyone fit. We ain't got Eze. Everyone wants a left winger. I get it, but forget that for now. When everyone's fit, this is what we got. We've got Zubimendi, obviously, in the 6. And he's going to be holding the deep line. We've got Rice over as this kind of advanced 8 role. We've got Ødegaard as his advanced right role. Martinelli's on the left, and then Saka's on the right. Obviously, we've got Gyökeres. Now, this is what's been happening in pre-season, right? Zubimendi's getting on the ball. It's going to Rice. It's going to Martinelli. Martinelli's like, no, back to Rice. Rice back to Zubimendi. Zubimendi says, Ødegaard, you have a go. Ødegaard goes up to Saka. Saka back to Ødegaard. Saka back to Ødegaard back to Saka. Saka back to Zubimendi. It's very, very possession-based, boring.
And then you throw Lewis Skelly in there as well.
Say again?
And then you throw Lewis Skelly in there, and it's
exactly. Skelly's inverting as well as that. I should have brought him on as well, to be fair, into it, right? And then what happens is Saka gets the ball and he just lumps it into the box and it gets cleared out, or he lumps it into the box and it gets cleared away. Then you got Martinelli. Martinelli's not even getting crosses in at the moment. He's just passing it back to Rice, and Rice is driving forward with it, right? When I say to you that I feel we're missing something from 22-23, the one thing that I kept saying on streams that I loved about that team was triangles and passing in triangles. And that's something I ain't seen at Arsenal for a while. But when you drop Rice and Zubimendi into this double pivot, bring Ødegaard into the mix more centrally, and you have Martinelli and Saka here, and Gyökeres against Villarreal was like here. He's like here. He's like here. I'm like, what are you doing? Get in the box. I need you more. But he's dropping out wide to try and get involved. He's dropping right to try and get involved. He's like, someone give me the ball. Like, what's happening here? What I think this would do is allow for some triangles to come back. And I think we've missed this, man. And what I mean by triangles is Rice and Ødegaard, or Martinelli. So, wrong one. Where are we? This one. Rice and Martinelli. Yeah. Martinelli and Ødegaard. And Rice and Ødegaard as well. So these triangles are happening. And it happens over here with Zubimendi and Ødegaard, Ødegaard and Saka and Zubimendi. We've got these triangles that I think we need
this as well.
Exactly. And we haven't seen this for so long, bro. We're going back to 22-23 here. Yeah. What that then does for Gyökeres is it's like, right, I don't need to drop deep and get involved with all this. I can just be here. So that when these triangles are working down the right and the left, I'm here as the focal point with my hand up going, yeah, go on then. I'm in.
Do you know what, Dan? Put Lewis Skelly on. Put Lewis Skelly on.
I can't even find where Lewis Skelly is. Let's grab
just make him a magic man.
I'll make it. It's Timber at the moment, but I'll make it Lewis Skelly. Go on.
Yeah, put Lewis Skelly on. Then
Lewis.
Obviously, everyone just pretend the centre halves are on the pitch as well, and Rice. Well, put Lewis Skelly where Rice is, and then remove Rice. So then you've got Lewis Skelly, and everyone just pretend they're centre halves. Remember that? What did Dan just say there? Gyökeres is in the box, right? Now, what can Rice do if Lewis Skelly is playing that triangle? What do we know about Rice? He's got legs, right, and a lot of his goals has been him bursting into the box. So now, if Dan visualizes, and you just remember what he just said about Gyökeres is in the box, and this could be several others. What's Rice going to do? Rice is obviously he's not going to start his run from where Dan's got him right now, but Rice is going to gallop into the box. this is it. You've got triangles and then you've got runners off the ball.
Runners, exactly.
All it takes is one person in the opposition's team not to realize what's going on, because this is football. People make mistakes. All we need is that one moment we've bagged. Or if Rice makes a run further forward, the ball might not go to him. There might be a more simpler option. And like for example, when another man in our team makes a run off the ball out wide, and then we can do triangles out wide, and somebody loses a runner. Then you ask questions of fullbacks in a compact unit. Does the right back or left back, do I go out and stop the cross? Or has the manager told me we don't mind dealing with crosses and we react in the other way? At some point, we have to control the controllables. There's no woe is me. We've got the ability to kind of ease the pressure on the questions that every Arsenal fan's asking, as shown with what Dan's just done. Especially because you got Lewis Skelly, which is designed at essentially having 4 centre mids.
Exactly. When he inverts. And I think, like the triangles thing is something that I've always liked in football. And it's something that I actually did appreciate Arteta doing in the early stages. And I haven't seen that as much because we've been getting the ball out wide and just whipping it in and smashing it in with crosses and waiting for corners and all this kind of stuff. And I'm looking at it thinking, this is quite an interesting one. And Rich, Eagle Died Football, big up to you every time, man. He says, how does this sign Eze? Obviously, he doesn't want us to sign Eze. But if we sign Eze essentially will be brought into the mold of the Ødegaard role, in my opinion. I think he's going to have a chance to play left, but I think I would like to see him more centrally because I think he'd be great. And to be fair to him, I think he can play in 3 roles. I think he can play in Ødegaard's position here, in Rice's or Lewis Skelly, where Lewis Skelly is now, or in the Martinelli role. And I think he's going to help us with low blocks massively because Eze, he just gives us that little bit of spark and something different, which I think we're struggling with at the moment. Man. I think he does, bro. I really think he does, man. Big time. So, look, at the moment, what's happening in terms of triangles, because people say, where's the triangles, where's the triangles? Our triangles at the moment are this, and it ain't good. Because for me, I don't want to see this as a triangle, and I don't want to see this as a triangle. Because that isn't good. That isn't good. Because we're asking for Gyökeres to do a lot more than just stay in the box. So when you're doing that, you're saying Gyökeres got to come and get involved with this. I don't want to see that. Why I want the other triangles, which I had on recently, because obviously Gyökeres can be that focal point then. Do you know what I'm saying?
The only triangles you see is Ødegaard exaggerated to the right next to Saka, and you give or take Timber or Ben White. That's the only thing close to consistent triangles you see with us. Yeah. This is where I'm sure Arteta's got his reasons. This is where, like, you wish you could have it, which we obviously can't because no one don't know Arteta. You wish you could pick his brains and see why are you saying these things? Like, why are you doing things like this? But we can't. So we can only call it as we see it, and it's predictable. Like, clearly whatever we've done, rightly or wrongly, positively or not, has got us to this point, but we've stagnated a bit, and it's down to us now to get to the next level. And a lot of it could be eradicated with our manager just changing what he's doing, in my opinion. Anyways.
No, you're absolutely right, man. This comes in with a super chat from Ricken, who says, Arteta's intent is let's not lose instead of let's win. They have to find a way to release the handbrake or it'll be the same stale stuff. With Gyökeres isolated and no one willing to take the risk to find him. This is where I think we're at in terms of this super chat. And big up to you, Rick, and I appreciate the super chat, bro, every time. Look, he's absolutely bang on. Victor Gyökeres coming into this club is absolutely brilliant because of what he is about. But if you do not give him the ball, make chances for him, create anything for him, he will just be like a Haaland and not get the ball. Now, Haaland has got enough about him, and I'm sure Gyökeres will to score goals still. But there has got to be more of our style changed. And I want to be seeing the absolute blitz that we've seen from 2022, 23, and the back end of 23, 24. And at the moment, I've not seen it for a long time. For the majority of last season, I didn't see it. I saw it in glimpses last season against Man City, against PSV, away. Real Madrid obviously was really good. We played more like we did in 22, 23 in the Champions League of last season than we did in the Premier League. Yeah, it felt like the handbrake was off more in the Champions League. If you remember Real Madrid at the Bernabeu, I was like, Jesus, I didn't expect this to be this open. I thought we were going to be like
a lot more space. Generally, the European sides,
facts,
with the exception of I'd say Atalanta and Inter Milan last year, if I remember correctly. But generally,
that was tough. Yeah, them two were tough. Italian teams always are. But yeah, and I think Gyökeres will have a good Champions League campaign with Arsenal because of that. I actually do think Gyökeres might have a really good Champions League with us, as well as the Premier League, because I think like you say, you get a bit more space, but. I don't think it's been Victor Gyökeres has been no good. I think it's been, one, he doesn't look 100% fit yet, but two, I don't think the players have actually provided much for him. I can't look at any clear-cut chances he was given. If I'm honest with you, he had 14 touches against Villarreal And against Spurs, he had about 4 touches because he was on for about 10 minutes. At the moment, I need to see more. And that goes not just for him, that goes for Zubimendi, Rice, and Ødegaard together. I want to see that more yet. And I want to see Madueke more because he's had 10, 15 minutes because of coming back from the Club World Cup. So I think it's still very early, if I'm honest. And I still haven't seen our best 11. And I think it's fair for the likes of Igal and some of the other people that are like, let's calm down, to say, we haven't even seen our best 11 yet. My problem is every player that I've seen has played the same style of football because of the manager. So that's why I'm looking at Mikel Arteta as the most disappointing thing this pre-season, because I haven't seen him change his style at all. It's been very, very stubborn, very much, nope, it's about not losing games. Well, guess what, mate? We've been conceding goals and losing games in this pre-season. So it ain't working. Change something up. And hopefully